Hi everyone, so today I'm going to do a review on the Jackery 240 and just my overall thoughts. I've had this thing for probably about a month and a half now and I've been really happy with it. I'm going to also compare it to something at a very similar price point, which is the OmniCharge 20 Plus, and kind of go through what some of the differences are and which one you should buy. I also purchased the Solar Saga 60, so that is a 60 watt panel which pairs with this really nicely. And something that a lot of people probably don't know is it's able to be used on a lot of other devices. It does have the Anderson connectors, which means with adapters you can charge pretty much anything that accepts a solar charge. So some of the things that I really like about this is the fact that it has a pure sine wave inverter, which is a big deal because at the same price point I got both of these were $200. So this was $200 and this was $204, so very comparable in price. This has a pure sine wave, the OmniCharge does not. So what that means is when I try to charge my MacBook Pro, it actually makes a buzzing sound when trying to charge through this, through the power port there, through the 110 outlet, which I don't like, so I do not charge it that way. I've stopped charging it. I have no issues with the Jackery on that. Obviously with the OmniCharge, you've got a form factor here that could fit into even some cargo pants, and that's not the case with the Jackery. So that's one con to the Jackery, but honestly, this is tiny. It's 6 pounds. You know, this could go in a backpack even. I would have no problem carrying this around at all. One other advantage of the OmniCharge is going to be the display. So on the display of this, you actually get a little bit more readings as far as temperature. And one thing I've noticed is that the display on this, when you're plugging things into it, actually updates quicker than on the Jackery. So the Jackery seems to take maybe like 5 to 10 seconds to kind of read what the wattage is. So that's something to consider. But beyond that, there's no thermal control with something like this. There's no built-in fans, which is an issue. On here, you do get a fan, and it is very quiet. So I've had some devices, some power stations that actually make a very loud sound when the fan is running, and not a really big fan of that. And I've also had some that emit kind of an odor to them, some of the sealed lead acid options. And with this being a lithium battery, you don't get any of that. You also don't have to worry about it tipping over or being, you know, rough on it. It is very durable. But that being said, this is a very simple to use, easy to read device, which I really like. The other thing I like is that this is 240 watt hours. So 240 watt hours out of something this small is awesome. It's awesome. So at an 85% efficiency, you're talking over 200 watt hours. So basically, if you're using this in a power outage situation, just take your wattage of your device. So if you have a 10 watt bulb, you're going to get 20 hours out of it. You know, so just divide that out by the 200 watt hours roughly, and you should be pretty safe. The other big advantage of this over some of my other power stations is the pass-through charging, which basically means I can have my solar panel hooked up to this and charge devices at the same time, and it'll actually give you a reading of your input versus output watts. So I will show you that here, which is really cool. So if you can see that, we have our input on the top, our output on the bottom, our total battery percentage, and away we go. The other cool thing is that you can turn on and off these plugs independently. So you have 3 options there to turn them off and to turn them on. And then our input is the same for the solar as it is for the wall plug. Now the wall plug charges at roughly 40 watts, you know, so that's gonna take a little bit of time to get this charged up. It is twice as fast as my 2 other sealed lead acid chargers, which are the big cons with those. If you're using them in a power outage situation, it is going to take you a long time to recharge, and I found that out the hard way when we had a 5-day power outage. and we'd use them during the day, and at night we'd have to drive them to a family member's house and let them plug in all night essentially to get a full charge. And I actually had it where one of them took 24 hours to fully charge, which is no good in those situations. This will charge a lot faster, and I was actually getting close to the full 60 watts out of the solar charger, so I can charge this faster on solar than I can plugged into a wall outlet, which is awesome. Another thing here is these feet on the bottom are kind of like a rubber silicone feel. Does a very, very good job of keeping this thing from moving around at all, which is obviously a big deal. So, you know, would I consider this to be better, the OmniCharge, or would I consider this to be better? Overall, if I could only have one, I would take the Jackery hands down, and I paid for both of these out of my own pocket, so I'm not being paid to review these in any way. But by far the Jackery is just the better option. It's very simple, so I think you know, maybe older people or people that aren't into this technology and just want to use it for the power, you know, for emergency backup, I think this is the better option. And honestly, it's been more reliable. I've had a few instances with the OmniCharge where it just went totally flat. The battery went from right around 100% to 0 for no apparent reason. And the only thing I can figure is it's a thermal issue. Both times it was just getting a little bit warmer out. It was not in direct sunlight, but it just flat out just died. I've not had any issues with the Jackery, and I've really put it through its paces. I've done a lot of pass-through charging, which, you know, that generates a lot of heat. You have input watts and output watts, and I have had no issues with it whatsoever. And something like this, when it does die, there's no way to get into this as far as I know. On this, it has just standard screws all over it, so I just get a sense that if I really wanted to tear into this 5 years from now, if the battery's dead, I feel like I'd actually have that option. All right, everyone, so as you can see, we do have some sun going here, and I've got the Solar Saga 60 out, and I really, really like this solar panel. It is expensive. It was $180, so for what you get, it is pricey, but it does have these nice buttons that hold everything in, and the panels themselves have a really glossy, easy to clean texture to them, which I do like. And then I also really like this pouch, and they do have a weatherproof or waterproof zipper to them, which is really, really cool. And again, it's connected with an Anderson plug. So if you're on Amazon and you want to get any sort of an adapter and get the right end that you need for whatever device that you're charging, that'll work. So the other thing is, it does have a nice stand. All right, and as you can see, we have that in full sun. We've got a really long cord. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, plug this in, and I'll try to get it in the shot without putting any shadow on. But as you can see right now, it is not even 9 o'clock in the morning, and we have 45 watts already, which is really, really cool. All right, so now I'm going to show you what the pass-through charging looks like. So we've got the solar panel and the sun. Again, it's only about 9:15 now, so we're not getting full sunlight, and I have a completely dead laptop. Won't even turn on, so we're going to turn on the inverter, and I'm going to go right on ahead and plug this thing in. And there we go. So we have got a laptop charging. Laptop is charging, and we are getting pass-through charging. And as you can see, we have 34 watts coming in, we have 24 watts going out, so we are actually charging the battery on the Jackery. And also, so we're putting a little bit of juice in, we're putting about 10 watts into the battery per hour, and we are charging up this laptop. So let's let this go for a little bit. All right, everyone, I just want to say thank you again for watching and tuning into my channel. Been really happy with this Jackery product, and specifically I wanted to mention that they very often on Amazon as well as their website will have sales. So this is typically going for about 240, 250 bucks. I got it for just over 200. I believe it was 204. So keep an eye out. They usually have pretty good deals and they seem to rotate, so it's not necessarily all the products at once going on sale. So keep an eye out. What I like to do is add it to my Amazon cart and have them notify me if the price goes down. So maybe that's something you want to do if you're not in a hurry to get it. But I do highly recommend this. Very, very happy with that. Out of all the power stations I have, this one by far and away is the best at being a power station. Does not have a compressor built in, doesn't have a jump starting capability, but just strictly for power, this is hands down better. So thanks again for watching. If you wouldn't mind, smash that like button and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Thank you.